Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Lindy Jung. I am an author tuber and a science fiction and fantasy writer, and today I'm going to talk about NaNoWriMo. It is officially week 1. It's November 4th as I'm filming this. I only have 1,684 words in the tank, so today will be a catch-up day. The reason that I haven't done so hot the first couple days is because I quite literally just moved to my new place in Thailand, and I started my new job as an ESL teacher for Thai students in high school. It's been wild. I also have had these weird bug bites all over my body that I'm so sure are bed bugs, but I haven't found a bed bug yet, and I've washed all my stuff and I'm gonna get insecticide. I haven't gotten a new bite in a while, fingers crossed, but it's just been really just a hectic couple days. So not a lot of words. But I did want to let you know that I am participating in NaNoWriMo this year. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to just because I wasn't sure what my schedule would look like, but there's this thing that high school teachers don't tell you about called prep periods. And I think I will be able to participate, and I hope I'll be able to hit 50,000 words. Today is just going to be sort of a catch-up vlog. I don't think I'll be doing vlogs regularly this month just because most of my writing is going to take place at work, at school, and I just don't think it's appropriate to film at school. Personally, that's not a line I want to cross. But I did want to make something, just something to acknowledge that I'm participating this year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my goals for this month and what I'm going to be working on. It's pretty tame. I think the biggest upset that has occurred is when I moved to Thailand, and why did I do that? I'm having a great time, but why do I do this? Number 2 is that I actually am switching gears. I was going back and forth on this for a while, debating between working on Moths, which is my adult dark academia fantasy, and Project Sunshine, which is what I'm calling my Koreatown set rom-com about a group of dumbasses trying to make a food truck a viable business. And I eventually settled on Project Sunshine. I've been working on Moths pretty inconsistently these past couple months just because I was backpacking for around 2 months. It's a hard project to work on for something like this when I have a word count goal at the end of the finish line, because for Moths, I want the final product to be as polished as possible, and that takes a while. It's just been taking a while to draft because I have to think about every word, every sentence, every scene so deeply, so thoroughly. I go back and delete and shift stuff all the time. It's just one of those projects that is not meant to be drafted all in one sitting, all in one go. And I think I would hate my life if I tried to work on it for NaNoWriMo. So I decided on Project Sunshine. Even though I'm not even 2,000 words in, I can already tell this is going to be a much better pick because it's a rom-com, and because even though I've never written contemporary or even a book that features a romance as the main plot point, although it's still sort of a subplot. Basically, I've never written a book like this before. I've never written a story like this before, but it very much draws upon my real life, my actual experiences, my observations of that very specific Southern Californian, Asian American / Korean American culture. It's coming from the heart, basically. So the words have been flowing when I have the time for it. And the other thing is that I don't have any plans to pursue publication for this book, at least not yet. I would not query this book. Basically, it's an idea that's been scratching at the back of my head in one form or another since high school. And I just want to get it out on paper or on my computer and revise it a couple times, maybe have some people read it so it feels real, and then shelve it, because sure, I would like to see this project out in the world someday, but when I'm thinking about querying, when I'm thinking about my long-term career aspirations, if that's even a possibility for me, am I delusional? Will I ever be a real author? Who knows? I don't want to debut with something that's so far out of my wheelhouse, because then what if people expect more of that from me? I don't have any more contemporaries in me. This is just a project that has been sitting in my head, marinating for a really long time, and I just want to finish it, and I want to finish a book, and I like that it's low stakes, low stakes in terms of publishing and career stuff. And that's been a theme in my writing lately, is I've just been wanting to write stuff for myself, for my own gratification. Ever since I parted ways with my former agent, I've just not completely lost interest in traditional publishing, but that fire that I felt, that need to get it out there, get my books out there, get a book deal, get published, I just don't feel it as much anymore. I did for a little while, I was really hell-bent on querying Moths as soon as possible, getting new representation, getting that book deal, but now I kind of am just enjoying taking my time, not feeling the pressures of the traditional publishing grindstone, because I do think that I've been noticing flaws in the industry more and more. I think ultimately, for a myriad of reasons, mainly that self-publishing is not financially feasible for me, I would like to pursue traditional publishing as my main avenue of publishing, but I just don't feel particularly inclined to do it by a certain age or a certain date. Is this healing? Honestly, I attribute a lot of that to just finding satisfaction in areas of my life outside of traditional publishing or writing in general. Like, I used to derive so much of my identity, my personal pride from writing because it was the thing I was good at. Like, you know, the thing that I'm not saying that I'm like the best writer ever, but just the thing that I've been doing my whole life that I got praised for. I think that's where I got a lot of my validation from. A lot of my personal identity comes from that. And it is very important to me, but lately, you know, I've been thinking a lot more about my life, just like growing up and having experiences outside of writing. I've been having a lot of experiences outside of writing, and I just don't really like care about publishing by a certain age or proving myself in that way anymore. So that's a long spiel. Basically, I'm writing for fun this November, and I think that's going to help me hit that 50,000 word mark, and I'm very happy about it. I'm gonna take you along with me on my day. It's already like noon, but I'm gonna try to go to a cafe and get some work done. I also have lesson planning to do, so it's gonna be kind of a mixed day, but we'll see if we can catch up. I think because I'm a little bit behind, I need to get around like 5,000 words in, and then I'll be in good shape. I also have a lot of prep period tomorrow, so it'll be fine. I'll see you guys soon. Hello. Okay, so quick update. It's we spent a couple hours at the cafe, then we came back because they didn't have a bathroom, needed the bathroom, and we're going out to a night market later. And just for the update, I did hit 2,000-ish words. I went a little bit past that. I added almost 1,000 words in that session, which is pretty good. I do need to get to like 6,600 words to be truly caught up, but I'm not that stressed about it, honestly. At the same time, during that session, I also finished my lesson plans for this unit, so it was a productive little afternoon thing, and now I'm going to work a little bit more and edit a little more, and then I'll show you guys some clips from the night market, and I think I'll vlog a little tomorrow because I am having fun with this. So in terms of like what I'm actually working on in this project, I'm still in Act 1, obviously. I finished Chapter 1, it's about 9 pages. I think it's a little bit of a rockier Chapter 1 than I usually am able to put out, just because, like I said, I haven't really found my footing with the voice yet. And then at the start of Chapter 2, you meet the love interest, and I already am feeling like the chemistry. Sometimes character interactions are just really easy to write, like it comes super naturally. I've been having a good time with that. I just think they have like a really fun bond because they knew each other as children, but it was kind of like childhood enemies, like in that really petty way that little kids are enemies. And then it's like the first time they're seeing each other as adults, so it's like, why are you in my house? It's like kind of a tone whiplash thing, because at the end of Chapter 1, the main character discovers something really major about her life and her family, like really depressing stuff, and then she immediately runs into her love interest, although she doesn't know it yet. So I'm trying to find a way to balance that and to make it feel like a natural transition for her emotional state, because this is a main character who is very emotionally constipated, to put it mildly. She's not going to be able to deal with those negative emotions head on for a very long time. That's going to be a lot of her journey in this book. But the thing with that is you don't want to lose the reader. You want to maintain that sense of this character is emotionally immature and needs to grow a lot before like the good can come into her life. But you don't want the reader to be like, oh, this character is so unrelatable and this is a really weird reaction to this. I can't follow this at all, I can't relate, and I don't want to read anymore, especially in this early stage. I might dial back on her unrelatability for a bit. I think she will have that crisis moment at first and then start to rationalize, and that's more where that emotional constipation comes from. I love writing women who suck at feelings. It's my favorite thing. I don't think I am a woman who sucks at feelings. I suck at some feelings, but especially lately I've become a lot more like open and in touch with my emotions. But it's so much fun to write women who just are so messy, don't know what they're doing, and are creating problems for everyone. So I'm gonna keep at that. I'm also going to work on some other stuff. I don't have a lot of B-roll for this though, because I'm just gonna be in my apartment. So I'll update you guys in a little bit. Bye. Don't mind me being casually drenched in sweat. That's just every day here. So a little update before I go to bed. I'm probably gonna work a little bit because I still have some energy, but yeah, we had a really nice dinner and walked around and checked out the night market as it was closing. I mean, I'm still working on chapter 2. I think I should probably be able to wrap that up this session. It's a little bit of a weird one. I feel like I have less of a solid beginning, middle, end for this chapter, which is something that I like to have, like to keep in mind for each of my chapters, basically, because it just makes them feel more complete, and it makes the transition between chapters feel a little less jarring or awkward. So I'd just like to tighten that up a little bit. I'm trying not to edit too much this time around because I really just want to get words down. Like, I breached 3,000 words, but I'm still like 3,000 words from where I need to be on track. I don't think I'm gonna get 3,000 extra words done today. I've already written like over 2,000 today, so I'm just gonna try my best and get some more words in and then go to sleep, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hi, it's Sunday. It's just a little bit before noon. Couple things. So I'm gonna keep writing today, and I'm definitely going to try to get out of the apartment and head out for a bunch of reasons. The main one being I do pay my own electricity bill, and it's not supposed to be too expensive in Thailand, but just because it's so hot out, I do run the AC a lot, so I'd like to get out of the apartment and go somewhere where I can like get a coffee. Motorcycles are going by every day. Get a coffee, some AC, sit indoors for a bit with good Wi-Fi, and just work. So last night I was planning on getting some more writing done before bed, but I ended up getting home like around 10, then staying up until 1 a.m. listening to podcasts. So, you know, not the best decision making ever. 0 words got done last night, so I'm gonna have to play catch up again today. I feel like if I do around the same volume that I did yesterday, which was close to 3,000 words of new words. Wait, what the hell? 3,000 words of new writing, fresh writing. I'll be on decent track. The only thing is, once this weekend is over, you know, I have to work. I mean, I get to work, but am I going to be able to keep writing that much so I can catch up? Or am I gonna fall behind even more? You know what? I need to take my own advice. I need to not worry so much about the word count and just write the chapters as they come, get this act 1 out of the way, because I do think it's gonna be the most awkward act. For some reason, either act 1, especially the first chapter, the opening, and like introducing the characters comes super easily to me and is like the best part to write, or it's the worst. And I think it all comes down to, am I comfortable and confident in my depictions of these characters on the page? How well do I know them? How familiar am I with their voice? How close are they to me? And also, of course, like the actual stuff that's happening. Is my inciting incident in a good place? How's my setup? So this is definitely a project where it's been a little bit tougher to write the beginning. I just feel like it's so awkward because nothing exciting happens. In fantasy and sci-fi, usually that inciting incident is some sort of action beat, and it's like fun to write. I love writing action beats. I sometimes love writing action beats, but here it's all very much like interpersonal relationships and that sort of dynamic. And I feel like I'm just not as experienced with creating the drama out of that, if that makes sense, like creating the story out of that. Like, of course, interpersonal relationships are key to most stories, if not all. However, building the plot around them, like the entire impetus of the plot, is sometimes difficult. Like, I'm such a writer who my worst trait and the thing that I will fall back on if I'm left alone and if I don't catch myself is I will write a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin is a cool, special, magical item that people are trying to get, and that is the physical manifestation of their goal. It can be a metaphor for, you know, their actual wants, needs, desires, or anything like that. But a lot of the time, when a MacGuffin is at its worst, it's just a random magic item, and the people are going for it for basically no solid thematic reason. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I feel like it's an interesting reflection of how I write and how I view story, and I tend to write stories that have a little bit more of that like go get 'em physical quest element. Oh god, I love writing a quest. I need to rein it back and write these stories focusing on interpersonal relationships and individual growth, bringing what in like the type of fantasy and science fiction I write is normally a little bit more of a B plot up front to the A plot. I hope that makes sense. It's just really interesting to think about how this is such a different writing experience for me than my usual. This is a very specific skill set. Romance writers, any sort of like rom-com type writer, hats off to you, because making this sort of narrative compelling and also making it funny and making it like touching, it's not easy. It really isn't. And it's definitely a stretch for me, and I'm really, really happy that I've chosen this project and that I can just write it and not be too worried about it. That's my update. I've been definitely feeling like a little weird this weekend now that I don't actively have tasks laid out in front of me other than like writing. It's hard to find the motivation. Like I used to follow my motivation on work. I do want to get out of the apartment and I do want to write, and I'm going to do those things today, and we're gonna get it. That is my morning update, and I'll talk to you guys again later. Bye. almost lost it there. Hi, it's currently 4:20 p.m. I would say that Sunday's wrapped up. I spent around probably 3 hours in the cafe just working on various things. I was doing some sprints in my writing Discord group because Discord has a sprint bot, so I did like 3 15-minute sprints and then was writing before and after and in between, so that was a lot of fun. Let's see what my totals are for today because we love math during NaNoWriMo. Suddenly everyone's a mathematician. So I got 2,060 words done today. Actually, I think I got a little bit more. NaNoWriMo is not calibrated to my time zone. I think it's still calibrated to California. So for part of today, I was writing for yesterday, like my words went into yesterday. In most of my sprints, I think my lowest was like 360 words in 15 minutes, and then my highest was somewhere around 600 maybe. Again, I have to reiterate like how freeing it is to not have to worry about the quality of my work, basically. I've spent so much time being so concerned over the quality of moths, over everything down to the line level, like stuff I really shouldn't be worrying about, and it's been making writing not super fun for me. You probably noticed that through like the lack of writing stuff, and with my schedule and stuff, it's just hard to put that much brain power into writing, which is something that primarily I want to do because it's fun. Another thing I had realized today is that this is the first NaNoWriMo I've participated in where I didn't have an agent and I didn't feel that pressure to have a manuscript done and once it's to a certain level, send it to my agent to evaluate it and maybe get ready to put it on submission. That's so nice. Like, it's so nice to not have that pressure, and I haven't felt it in years and years. Like, honestly, I think the first NaNoWriMo I participated in, I was either actively querying or I'd just gotten my agent. But yeah, this is purely just fun, and like, honestly, I might share some snippets from this book a little bit later, but most of the stuff I've written is garbage. I have huge gaps, not huge gaps, but I have bits where I have just written in brackets like, oh, look this up later, or write a transition scene, and it doesn't matter. Like, it really does not matter at all because no one's going to see this except me, and I have all the time in the world to polish it up if I want to get it to the point where I want to share it with other people. And this is like a fun, corny story. One of the things that I did to sort of unconventionally prep for this, other than just like map out a basic outline, was watch a bunch of rom-coms, like a bunch, especially from the early 2000s. A lot of them are rather offensive, but I think that was kind of when romantic comedies especially were at their peak. Like, most of the ones that have come out since are not as funny. I think there's other types of comedies that have been good, but yeah, they haven't been hitting the same. So I'm really trying to draw from that. And I know that film writing or even TV writing and book writing are very, very different, but I would say that most of my casual media consumption tends to be films and TV because I just really like visual media. As someone who doesn't visualize things in my head, I have aphantasia. Aphantasia? I don't actually know how to pronounce that word. That almost helps me with my writing because once I see the picture, the movement, the visual, it's like a little bit easier to transcribe it or to use a similar type of visual in my writing. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, when I read books, I don't picture the images in my head at all. So I think that's why I'm a little bit more drawn to visual media, and it was something that I considered going into for a rather long time. Obviously, I've settled on being a novel and short story and fiction writer in general, but I still love that, and I still think that like the storytelling principles, and especially like a lot of the genre principles, they're very much shared between the two types of writing, even though they're very different skill sets and types of writing and storytelling, and they have different advantages, like pros and cons. But yeah, basically, I just watched a bunch of rom-coms and I feel like I'm in that zone. It's nice to break away from a more serious tone with moths and just be lighter, be more humorous, not take things seriously, make jokes, write characters who are silly and don't really take themselves seriously, or if they do take themselves seriously, it's a joke. Like, it's funny that they do that. One thing that I did do in this session was change my POV from third to first. Instantly so much better. I don't know why, it just reads a little bit better. I do worry about the voice sounding like kind of immature because this character is supposed to be 29, 28, like almost 30, but honestly, this generation, most people at that age are immature anyway, so I don't think I need to fix it that much. But yes, switching it over to first person allowed me to inject so much more humor into the voice. I think one of my favorite things with first person is to inject like world building details in the form of snide commentary. This is a thing that I try not to do too much, but especially in the beginning, where it almost feels like you're talking to someone and they're catching you up on their life or their gossip, and they're like a more catty or not super mature personality. Like, she's just talking shit about her work, her friends, her life, her thing that recently happened to her. So you're getting caught up through those like snide asides, and they're not too frequent, but it's enough to give you a sense of her world. I did mention earlier in this video that I was going to try to put in another scene that like sets that up, but honestly, switching to first person, I think I don't need to do that setup as much anymore. It just comes in through the voice and how she's talking to you. This has been like really fun. I'm already on chapter 3, almost done with chapter 3. The inciting incident has happened, the what I will call like step into another world. I still am using fantasy frameworks for this like journey, but I think it works. Now we're gonna get into like fun and games, and the fun and games for this book, because it's around like food, and I love food, and I love Korean food, and I love cooking. It's gonna be so much fun. I've already talked a little bit about food in the parts of the story I've written so far. Specifically, I've talked about kimbap and the main character's family's like secret recipe or ingredient for it. I don't know what it is about writing descriptions of food and making food that just like gets me. I think I might have been a food writer in my past life, but it's just been so much fun, and I feel like I'm going to get very, very extravagant with it, and I'll probably have to cut some of the food descriptions, but like I said, just filling out the word count and having fun. Wait, I didn't actually say most of my numbers, so I'm currently at 6,081 words. I might write a little bit more. I do have some errands to run tonight and some housekeeping to do. Like, I do need to tidy my apartment and make it a place where I live instead of a place I've just been sleeping the past couple days. To get on track, I need to be at 8,333 words. I have a lot of prep period tomorrow, so I think I'll be okay. I just feel really good about this. It is still only the first week, but you know, there's a lot more to go, a lot could happen, but this story has just been so fun, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but I really do think it is because of the lack of pressure I'm putting on myself to be like excellent, to write like a literary masterpiece. Like, no, it's just a silly, funny rom-com about two people who are kind of like assholes, but in an endearing way, and it's about food and everything I like and like my upbringing. I'm just like, this is gonna be such a fun nano. Anyway, that is the video. I'm gonna be uploading this super soon so that everyone can watch this while NaNoWriMo is still happening. Again, I also have 2 videos coming out with NaNoWriMo on their channel as a YouTube guide a little bit later in the month, so keep an eye out for those. I'll definitely post about them in my community tab. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for following along. Sorry if this wasn't like a super exciting vlog. Let me know what you guys are writing, how your first week of NaNoWriMo has gone. If you'd like to see more vlogs like this, I can try to do another weekend vlog. I just can't do like vlogging during the week. But yeah, I want to hear everything about how your NaNoWriMo is going, so please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.